Palestine was always a cultural hub. These musicians always had a target on their backs because a lot of the music they were doing at the time had political undertones.
Can you tell me what was it like being part of the Edward Said National Conservatory of Music when you were 7 years old?
Oh my God. It's funny because I went to jazz school with Oud and they were like, what are you going to do with this? And then I said, well, I guess we're just going to have to write music for it. I actually brought a bunch of microtonal music into jazz school. It was a little intense. I am heavily influenced by Ziad al-Rahbani. This was a truly devastating loss. Even though I've never met him in my life, I've spent a lot of time with him. We don't think of music as entertainment. We think of it as an expressive, as much as it's been around, still unexplored art form that we want to cultivate. Also understand and see what our role is within the tradition to take it out of the museum.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Quarter Tones podcast, the music podcast on the Afikra Podcast Network. My name is Mikey Mhenna. Today, joining me is Wanees Zarour, who is an award-winning Palestinian-American composer, multi-instrumentalist, and the director behind the Middle East Music Ensemble in the University of Chicago and a lot of other things. Wanees, welcome to the series.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Okay. I have a question for you, and I forced myself not to ask you this before we started recording, okay?
All right.
Can you tell me what was it like being part of the Edward Said National Conservatory of Music when you were 7 years old?
Yes.
In Palestine.
Oh my God.
What is this experience like?
Well, it was very interesting. So I started with the Edward Said Conservatory in the very early days of the Edward Said Conservatory of Music. So I started...
this is based in Ramallah or in Jerusalem? Where is this based?
Well, the one I went to was in Ramallah. But there is a branch in Jerusalem that's quite big. And there's a branch in Beit Lahem. I believe there's a branch in... I want to say there's a branch in Nablus. I'm not exactly sure, but there's definitely one that was in Gaza too. It's a big institution now, but at the time, the one that I believe the first one was in Ramallah, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, what was that like? And give me a sense. Like, you were 7 years old. Did you think that this was something special? Did you think that this was something weird? What is this? What is that National Conservatory?
When I started, they set it up in the very top floor. I think it was the roof, the penthouse of an old, I believe it was some sort of a hotel or something like that in Ramallah, called Asr al-Hamra. That's the first one I went to. Very small, a couple of rooms. And I remember there weren't instruments actually. I wanted to take piano lessons at the time, and they were full. I asked for oud lessons, and I don't think they had a teacher yet. It was a very, very early beginning, and basically they told me there's violin if you want to learn violin. And I said, okay, my teacher, Muhammad Fadl, who, is one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life, is the one who started me with the violin, and just had so much to teach and so much energy and so motivational, to the point where all you want to do is play the violin, just like have it next to you in bed whenever you're sleeping. You just don't let it go. He just kind of he started that journey for me with music as almost a love affair, rather than just something you do as an extracurricular activity. I wanted to do it because I was jealous of a cousin of mine who was playing piano. So at the conservatory. So
cousin jealousy is always productive.
It's a real thing. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I couldn't be more thankful for that jealousy. But it was a very small institution. It later moved to another building in Ramallah. also like a top floor, like you had to like go through so many flights of stairs to get there. By the time you're at your lesson, you're just totally winded. They had the most wonderful teachers. Just an amazing culture in the very early days. I remember how small it was, and yet how deeply dedicated the faculty was, and the founder Suhail Khouri just put all of him into it. So uh, yeah, just an amazing thing. Now, you, um, Mikey, another thing about this is when the conservatory in the early days, there weren't that many people playing music in Ramallah, just maybe a handful.
So, do you think, is this a product of the occupation and the product of, the Intifada? Like, was that truth because of 70 years of Israeli illegal occupation, or was it because of this? It was a situation, a place that wasn't as rich with music compared to Damascus or stuff like that.
A lot of it is a direct cause, a direct result of the occupation, because Palestine was always a cultural hub, and it had a lot of musicians, had a very important radio station and ensembles, and all of these musicians ended up kind of in different parts of the Arab world, in Lebanon and Syria and Iraq and Egypt. But in the West Bank, you know, uh, even around the first Intifada, the first uprising, Ramallah was a small town. It wasn't really that as big as it is now.
Yeah, it's like a
Uh,
suburb.
yeah, it's very small. It almost kind of had this villagey feel to it. And there were some musicians, but these musicians were always had a target on their backs, because a lot of the music they were doing at the time had political um, undertones, and so they were always targeted, and music was always underground for these folk. Later in the late 80s and early 90s, we started seeing more and more and more music being played out. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a massive scene, to the point where I remember like walking as a kid from the conservatory to like other places in Ramallah with my violin on my back, and people asking me if it was a piano. Like, there was just very little awareness of what these instruments are. And the conservatory just created a whole scene of music that was unimaginable in the early 90s. It's like every other person plays music now. It's crazy. The scene is very active and and flourishing, and there's a lot of creative, wonderful people. Um, my cohort, the people I went to conservatory with, are now doing great things all around the world. So what they started there was just a beautiful thing, really, very important.
What what was the repertoire? I mean, like, I guess, what was the music that you listened to? We're about the same age. Were
Mhm.
you listening to like a mix of like Metallica and Ziad Rahbani and Tupac, or were you like, what were you listening to at the time?
You know, when earlier in life, when I was there, um, most of what I was listening to was whatever I would hear at home or at my grandparents' home, which is mainly Kulthum, Fairuz, Ziad Rahbani, um, and some other kind of things that occasionally come up. Uh, when I went to my dad's work, they were always playing George Wassouf there. you know, when I went to my grandmother's house, my aunt was always playing Majd al-Rumi. But for the most part, my biggest exposure was Fairuz, Kulthum, Ziad Rahbani. These are the trio.
Yeah. And that was that the repertoire of the conservatory? Like, when you were learning, like, what did you learn when you were growing up? Like, how did you get your chops?
Yeah,
What
the
was the thing?
violin. So I started with the violin, and it was all
Yeah.
classical training. There, and then eventually the conservatory started bringing teachers for strings from England and from the United States, to come to Palestine and teach. Around, I want to say 5 years in or something, I got more and more obsessed with this instrument called Buzuq. And I took some lessons with Khalid Gibran, who's a very well-known Palestinian musician, Buzuq player, and oud player, and scholar. So I took some lessons with him, and this is my became instantly my main instrument.
What about Buzuq attracted you? It's an interesting instrument to be like, this is like my thing.
You know, I think it's because it's very weird.
Do you have one by you?
I do have one. It's right here.
Okay, I'm going to force you. I'm going to force you back. Yeah.
So this is it.
Yeah.
It's got this ball. It looks like a small oud from here, but it's got this very long neck.
Yeah.
And extremely finicky. Doesn't like to be in tune all the time. But it's typically a solo instrument that's played in folkloric settings. But its sound, it's both very bright and deep at the same time. It's got these kind of like this almost like double personality. It's both deep and bright. So and it's got these octave separation in one of the strings. So it has a very interesting, very distinct sound that's not in any of the other instruments. So you don't hear. The oud is a very consistent instrument throughout. Like you hear the same kind of timbre.
Can you demonstrate that
Sure.
sort of multi-personality?
Absolutely. So this is the bottom string here. This is just the string that's played the most here. So, and then there's this.
They're all doubled. They're all doubled.
They're all double course.
Yeah.
Some of them have two. The traditional one has 2 strings. Some of them have 3. I have 3 here. This is the top one here is mainly used as a drone. But it's got octaves, so you can hear this. Right? So when you play it, sometimes you'll hear like a contrast suddenly. You'll hear, like, for example, I'm playing here. Right?
Yeah. What's the interval between each string?
So it would be a fourth.
Okay, so fourth.
Yeah, so this is a G here, and this is a C. The top one here is also a C drone.
Oh, so GCC.
Yeah, so C, G, C. G is in the middle.
I see. So that also means that they resonate against each other very.
They do,
often.
and you use them as drones a lot. Like, for example, you would be playing here, let's say, and if your tone center is G, for example, then you're playing. Right.
So immediately, all in this case, all nine strings start to resonate.
Yeah, all 6. Yeah.
6. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always resonating. It's a very interesting instrument to record too. You just have to be willing to deal with the imperfections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to kind of jump ahead to some of your solo work, or not solo work, but some of your original work, and then I kind of want to work backwards.
Sure.
So I'm gonna share a song that you sent over, which is on YouTube, and I'll have you introduce it, and then we can listen to some of it.
This is Silwan. Okay, Silwan is Silwan is actually the name of a neighborhood in East Jerusalem. It's a Palestinian neighborhood that has dealt with so much ethnic cleansing, home demolitions, settler violence, all of that, just insanity. And this tune is kind of generally about it. It just kind of conveys the condition somehow that is lived in this part of Jerusalem, and I wrote it around the time when there were uh, when there was this. I think it was 21 or 22. The things that were happening in Sheikh Jarrah, and there was a lot of um, in the news about it. This is around the time when I wrote it. It's I played the Buzuq in it, and this is with my band East Loop. And this group, if you want me to explain
please.
a little bit about it, this is my original music group. Essentially, it's an octet. Um, there are both most of the musicians in it are jazz musicians. Jazz, some of the most awesome jazz musicians here in Chicago. Also, one of my dear friends and partners in crime, Tariq Rantisi, plays percussion on it. And there are keys. There's a horn section. There's a whole rhythm section, guitar, bass, drum set, and it's kind of an exploratory, let's say, experiment that expands the parameters of Arabic and kind of Palestinian music aesthetics, and puts it within a jazz framework, and also expands the jazz tradition kind of to fit within this melodic structure. So it's very melodic. It's the rhythms come from our tradition more than they come from. There's no swing, for example, but there's a lot in that comes from the jazz tradition that informs how all of it kind of melts together.
Okay, yeah, let's listen to that because I'm curious about what elements stayed in and what elements are not there.
Sure.
Yeah, let's listen. incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. These are a stupid, maybe there's just like a musician's question, but I'm really curious, how do you write the form for this type of stuff? Like, is it written like is it sort of like there's a head and then, well, like when you perform it, do you perform it live with this band?
Yes.
Is it basically like, all right, we're gonna do the head twice, and you're gonna solo, 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 and go back to the head? Is that kind of the idea? Is that how
Kind
you
of,
treat it?
yeah. It's there's the head. Now, what in this piece, the after the solos, which you heard,
Yeah.
there's a completely insane 4/4 rhythm that's split by for the geeks out there. It's split in 7 and 9, so like 7
Okay, we have to listen to it.
No,
Okay,
now you have to
okay.
listen to it.
That was the-
We can
Let's
fast forward a
listen to it.
little.
Okay. Now I know you definitely performed this live, because clearly that's how you end the show.
Yeah, that's pretty much. It's always the last tune.
Yeah.
It's
It's so funny. I feel like a lot of people think that music or anything like that is like all artistic decisions, but so much of it is functional decisions. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, we need to have something to end the show.
Yes.
Khalas, we'll have this section.
Let's have this.
at the
Yeah,
end. That's crazy.
Right.
Where you bring out the clave and the guys.
it's it's and form for me is a different kind of. I approach it differently. I tried. Sometimes I have like some tunes in this album have kind of purely Arabic tones where you play a section, go to refrain, play another section, refrain.
Yeah.
Kind of that traditional, one of the traditional forms that are used in Arabic music. But most of the time when I write, I go, I compose ahead, and then there is a development and then another development. So it goes in different events. They are related to each other somehow. So this tune specifically, the reason I mentioned that last part is because the last part of the tune we just played, Silwan, is kind of a recall. It's almost, it's very, very similar to the original head, but it's completely done differently. The head was like pum ba da 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 da, right? And the new one, the later section is kind of like a more active version. It's almost the same melody, but it's just kind of molded in a different way, and to kind of show a different type of chaos that's not in the original part of the tune. So that's an approach I take regularly. I like doing that. I like taking a melody and getting the most mileage I can out of it. Yeah.
What is Chicago like as a city when it comes to Arabic music?
Oh, it's great.
There's interesting like history with Arabic music in the Midwest in general, but like Chicago as well has like a long legacy of interesting players.
It does. Chicago specifically, Yeah, I mean, Chicago has a history of Arabic music. A lot of the music was done in the like the nightclubs with time and like the arrival of more musicians from different parts of the we always have musicians arriving in Chicago that weren't here, so it's always kind of evolving. The Arabic music scene started evolving into something that's more interesting. A lot of key players in Chicago's Arabic music scene made it that way, brought more originality to it, brought the concept of playing original music that's rooted in the Arabic tradition rather than.
Who are some of these people?
I mean, Isa Boulos is one of them who did a lot here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Very important. But there are lots of musicians here in Chicago who play Arabic music. Also, as a city, it has a pool of musicians who are incredibly creative, and because it's not an insanely busy city for music, somehow that leaves some space for us to create and not only be focused on 2, 3, 4 gigs a week. There's some more space, even though the work is not as dense as it would be in New York. But there's more space to get to know the musicians, create ecosystems, create possibilities, work with musicians from other traditions too. So it's definitely a more exploratory environment. It's kind of more of an incubator environment where you can be more creative and take more risks.
It's funny because like that song, Silwan, to me sounds like a Afro-Cuban jazz song with a buzuq.
Right. Yeah. It does have that. Yeah.
Like from the beginning you were playing, I was like, okay. And then it basically once the bass
Groove
comes in
and
it's like, oh, this is like an Afro-Cuban thing.
Right. Yeah, and some of them sound more like like a. There's another tune in the album that has a Georgina, a Iraqi rhythm essentially.
Which one is that?
It's called Festival.
Okay, perfect. This is what I had lined up. Let's listen to this.
Oh, okay, sure.
Do you want to explain what a Georgina Iraqi rhythm is before we listen to it?
Yes, so it's a 10-beat rhythm, but it's very fast. It's a 10. Some people write it again for the musicians out there. This is a rhythm that's in, let's say, 10/16s. So it's if you follow with it, it's basically 3 2 2 3. That's how it's subdivided. So 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 3 ta ta boom pa boom ta boom pa. So this whole tune is like that. It just kind of takes that rhythm and sustains
it's two triples, 2 doubles.
Yeah. So triple, double, double, triple. So
triple, double, double, triple.
Yeah. So 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Okay, let's listen to it.
Sounds good.
It's intense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so first of all, the guitarist has the best guitarist face ever.
In the entire Midwest region.
What a guitar face.
Yeah, yeah. Sam is so good though. I mean, he's one of a kind. He's a Swiss jazz guitarist basically. So he has a very different sound than any guitarist I've ever worked with.
Yeah. Super fun. Can I ask you about again, sort of nerdy music questions? The interval between the horns and your line
Mhm.
seemed uncommon.
Mhm. The harmony when we played
Yeah.
the melody. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were playing in parallel fourths.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were doing some we were just playing parallel fourths throughout the melody. With some adjustments to accommodate the quarter tones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. I remember like first year music theory class. It's like you never play parallel fourths.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's funny because that's what I and you basically what happens is like you get traumatized by that. You can't
Yeah. Yeah.
function. But so you can't play parallel fourths or fifths. And then I went to jazz school and I'm like, hey,
You play footprints for the first time. And you're like,
right.
oh, these are parallel fourths.
Right. It's like and I asked one of my professors and he said, yeah, we live for those.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
I guess we can do it.
Right.
You're like, how do you feel about microtones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because I went to jazz school with Aoud
Yeah.
and they were like, oh, what are you gonna do with this? And then I said, well, I guess we're just gonna have to write music for it.
Yeah.
Because it's and that's like I actually brought a bunch of microtonal music into jazz school. It was a little intense.
What was that like? I mean, going to a straight ahead like jazz school and bringing in the oud.
It was very interesting. It's and what made it even more interesting, actually, what made it somehow work better is that in the middle of it, the pandemic hit, so it all went offline.
Mm.
And somehow working on, because I was doing jazz composition, working with um, professors and workshopping tunes with their other students who are all they were all at that semester's program, so everybody was already a practitioner and they were writing tunes and stuff like that. So um, doing it online was extremely helpful. We were looking at scores together, kind of like you know basically tearing them apart and doing a lot of analysis around them. It was really interesting, I'd say. Um, but yeah, it was in the beginning. I remember the first year I was there. We were just trying to a lot of adaptation. The faculty was trying to think with me on how we can make it work. I mean, this instrument basically is Daoud in their mind looks like a guitar, but plays more like a bass, you know, and it doesn't really comp very well because you can't really do much with when you don't have frets and the strings are so close to each other. You can't even have a lot of fingers, in the same line. Um, so yeah, it was an adjustment, and it took a little while for them to kind of figure out how to place me in different ensembles and things like that. But for me, I was there for the writing.
Have they since? Do you feel like more jazz programs are now including these types of instruments?
Well, some do, some do. Like Berkeley does. Berkeley embraces that kind of aspect. But
Yeah.
a lot of jazz schools are straight ahead jazz. So when you throw something like this at them, I mean, I'm so grateful that they actually went for it.
Which school was it?
It was DePaul University in Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
just so happy they went for it. I almost went to New England Conservatory, but at the time, like I had a baby, and it was very hard to just pick up and move to New England to Boston. So I just stuck around. I'd like a lot of the faculty at DePaul. I knew them already, so it felt like a good move. And it's nice to just kind of go to a straight ahead jazz school and see what your contribution will be like. Kind of challenge the the parameters of the tradition, and try to see
And
what you
challenge yourself.
and challenge
also
yourself. Right.
Yeah.
And learn straight ahead jazz too.
Yeah. I want to play a little bit from the Middle East Music Ensemble. Maybe you can introduce this ensemble, why it's important, and what do you guys do?
Yeah, that's a project that's really near and dear to my heart. It's an 85-piece orchestra, probably one of the largest of its kind. It looks like an orchestra. It's got an entire string section, a rhythm section, piano, bass, percussion, and an entire wind section. The whole setup, basically, an entire brass section, a big choir. All of that wraps a group of musicians who play Middle Eastern instruments, whether it's Arabic instruments or Turkish or Persian instruments. And it has some solo singers as well. So it's a very multifaceted group, and it's been around for a very long time. But it's unique in the sense that it sits within a university. It's part of the University of Chicago Department of Music. But a lot of the members are actually non-students; they're community members. So the students get a lot out of it because they sit with a group of musicians who many of them are practitioners of the music, and many of them come from the tradition. So it's a very enriching experience, not only because they get to hear them play the music authentically, but also they get to experience the culture itself and experience them as people. Throughout the years, we've created an ecosystem with this orchestra. So everything that we do, whether it's the graphics that are projected behind us, whether it's the publicity, whether it's all of the arrangements for this ensemble are original arrangements. I arranged the music for this orchestra, even if it's we play some original music. So the main thing about this orchestra is it's an ecosystem for the community here in Chicago. Everybody who plays Middle Eastern music comes through it. It's a big hub for everybody. It plays. The concerts are free. The ensemble itself is not designed to only focus on, let's say, nostalgia-seeking audiences. It's a generative ensemble through and through. So we bring original music, but also our arrangements of existing music are always interesting. They're expansive. They explore timbres and sounds that you don't typically see. So that's the Middle East Music Ensemble.
Amazing. I want to talk about this concert that you did, the tribute to Ziad Rahbani.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
So I am heavily influenced by Ziad Rahbani, as we discussed before. So this was a truly devastating loss. I've learned a lot from Ziad Rahbani, and you can hear it in my music. And over the years, I transcribed a lot of his arrangements just for learning purposes and to understand how he thinks and how he functions. So I feel like I've spent, even though I've never met him in my life, I've spent a lot of time with him. And when he unfortunately passed last summer, I decided that the next concert is going to be a tribute to him. But the way I did it was I selected tunes from live performances that I have recordings of. The two I focused on was one that happened in Damascus and one that happened in Beit ad-Din in 2000. I essentially transcribed it so that we have exact replicas of every single tune that we played from his live performances. The arrangements are identical. And I wanted it to be as if he was with us. Like I wanted it to be as authentic as humanly possible, with all of the aspects that he would bring to a concert. And I think that we succeeded. The concert was free too, so we were even true to his approach and his thinking. So this was, I would say, one of the most important concerts I've ever done in my life. And I felt like I had to do it. I didn't have a choice but to do it.
How long was the show?
It must have been about at least an hour, 45 minutes or so. Just flew by so fast.
Yeah, it's fun that you recorded this and you have it on record now. So it's cool watching this because I also saw all these like friends of afikra in the front front row,
right.
Ronnie and
Rani
Firas.
and Firas.
And it's funny because the first email that you sent me was like, Mikey, I feel like you've interviewed all of my friends,
Yeah.
and they and this community of people that I'm a part of, and I love the show. And then I looked your stuff up, and I was like, Akid, we definitely have to have a conversation. But it made me think, like, do you feel like you are part of a generation of musicians that are all coming up together?
Yes.
So
Yes, 100%.
tell me about that generation. Tell me what it feels like from the inside.
Oh my! I mean, I couldn't ask for a better generation, honestly. I mean, just beautiful people. And Mikey, the great thing about this, and I'm so lucky to just be part of this cohort of musicians, because I mean, obviously I don't know everybody, but
Who are they? Like, I mean, just so people who are listening to this can be like, oh, cool, I can look up these people. Give me some people who you feel like are part of this cohort. Obviously, it's not exhaustive, but give me a sense.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I'm gonna just riff here. If I forget people, I'm sorry. I apologize. Firas Zreit is a qanun player, and composer. He just actually has a new album out yesterday. So yeah, Firas Zreit, one of the most wonderful musicians I know. Rani Maali, oud player, composer, based in Chicago. He's we partner on a lot of things, work together all the time. Beautiful musician. Very close friend of mine, Tariq Rantisi, who you saw in playing percussion in the East Loop video. We grew up together. Wonderful, just one of the most amazing percussionists I've known, and I probably will know for the rest of my life. Just absolutely amazing. But again, Laith Siddiq, Aboud Kayali, Nasim Al-Atrash, Huda Asfour. I mean, these are the people I kind of like operated with. We're kind of in almost the same age group. In Palestine, there are so many. Yusuf, Ziad, the most incredible oud players and percussionists and composer. Yeah. I mean, there in Palestine, there's a ton.
It's interesting. I don't think you mentioned any vocalists, like exclusive vocalists, and I don't think it's an accident. I wonder how many. Are there a lot of vocalists that are like where that's their main instrument?
Yes, there are. Yeah, there are vocalists who, but I think that that's a good observation. I don't know why I didn't mention any vocalists.
Because, like, for example, like Lin Adib, for example, she plays many things. And if you ask her, she would probably say like, oh, I think woodwinds is like my main thing. And in addition to it,
I sing.
I also sing,
Right. Yeah, Nay Barghouti is also a woodwind instrument. She's a
Nay
flutist.
Barghouti is a great example too.
Yeah. But I think the cohort I mentioned are mainly people who I see more often. We teach together at the Arabic Music Retreat too, but also they're people that we have that I have interesting discussions with about music and where everything is headed, and our approaches to things. Like we have like these geeky um, conversations that and we're always thinking about how we can push um, voices forward. And the interesting part about the folks that I mentioned is that all of them, without exception, are trying to push the envelope in their different ways.
So I was talking to Huda about this recently. Huda Asfour. I saw her in New York recently.
Yeah, dear friend.
And I feel there's this like palpable frustration, right, with the status quo of what people think is like Arabic music. But what's interesting is at the same time there is also palpable excitement, for better or worse, around popular like pop music, Arabic pop music, especially the sort of like super Western, palatable
Right.
pop music, right?
Right.
I wonder if these two things ever interact. These two worlds ever interact. And I feel like I come up against them a lot because of this show, basically.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
I like interview people like you who are, classically trained, who are interacting with jazz and interacting with other genres and are thinking about their musicianship and their craft and performance, and they're working musicians, right? And then on the other side, it's like interviewing recording artists that are thinking about entertainment, pop, like the sort of the popular entertainment. And they're thinking about Spotify and their brands and
Right.
writing really good pop songs that are viral and turn into viral songs. And I feel like these two worlds don't interact at all.
Not at all.
Why?
I think different purposes. They serve different things. Our the way people like Huda and I operate, and we operate very differently, by the way. But
Sure.
Huda is a very close friend. We've known each other since we were kids.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And so Huda and I like see things from a different lens. Um, we're thinking about music as not only we don't think of music as entertainment. That's one main theme here. We think of it as an expressive and very deep, and as much as it's been around, still unexplored art form that speaks to the human condition and that has a message and also has a purpose in life beyond pure entertainment. Not to knock, of course, music that's there for entertainment. People want to have fun and dance and sing, catchy tunes, and that's fine. I listen to those, but we're trying to think about this as a form of expression that has a deep and visceral human aspect, right? That we want to cultivate, and we want to try things, and we want to um, also understand and see what our role is within the tradition, to take it out of the museum and keep it living and breathing and expanding. And we want to be contributors to this tradition. We don't want it to just kind of stay dormant. We want it to be, something that lives on and takes different shapes and different forms, and we want to use it also to convey our humanity. So it's a very different purpose.
One last question before I let you go. Also, this is like born out of the little perch that I'm on.
Mm.
And I feel like I speak to, especially in the world of music, there's this interesting line that I've noticed from the region, from different parts of the region to different parts of the West. Okay. And people basically take their flights from whatever place they're from to the West, to Europe, to the US, to Canada, whatever.
Mhm.
And they work with people here and they work with people here. But in the neighboring regions, they don't. And part of that is because of visas and borders. But like, for example, the list of people that you just mentioned, there's no like Egyptians from Cairo on that list. Aishin be Cairo, right? There's no like interesting musicians in Beirut who are right now playing in Beirut, right? There are musicians from Palestine, from and in the States.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy, and it's not a you thing, it's an everyone thing, and it's because our region is so bordered up.
Yeah.
But it always drives me crazy that I'm like, man, how come I wish we could have the scenes in Kuwait and Bahrain and Oman and Cairo and Damascus and Ramallah and
I
Beirut
wish.
and Tunis actually meet each
Converge.
other. They
Yeah.
only meet each other in New York, or they only meet each other in London, or they only meet each other in Berlin.
It's exactly that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know I've been to Egypt. I mean, that's just one, but but yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this is maybe a multifaceted challenge. The first one is somehow it's very hard, at least from my perspective as a Palestinian, it's always been hard to go to other Arab countries. So this is one thing. But the interesting part is here in let's call it the diaspora. You come, like you said, you come from the origin, which in my case is Palestine and the people I grew up and made music with in Palestine. And then I'm dropped here about 20 something years ago. This experience of being kind of a person who is Palestinian, is straddling two identities all of a sudden, makes you, even musically and artistically, so consumed by like who you are, and what does it mean to be here, and what your role is, and what are you going to do about music? What do you do with this, right? With all of the tools that you have, but also with the lack of tools that you might have too. And we find ourselves only meeting people from the rest of the region here. So I interact with a lot of Turkish musicians. I interact with a lot of Persian musicians and lots of, Egyptian, Syrian musicians. We have some really wonderful Syrian musicians here in Chicago, but they're all here. And the experience we share is the fact that we are here and we are in the diaspora. That's our common shared experience. Aside from that we speak Arabic and we kind of know a similar musical tradition. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating because now there are scenes that are happening in Egypt and
of course
in Lebanon that are almost completely foreign to us here, and it would be so amazing if we can kind of bring the two together, because that's the things that we're doing here is also kind of growing on its own, and it's doing its own thing that's very different from what's happening over there. So
yeah, each one is fermenting in its own way,
right?
Best like, yeah. Anyway, it's a longer conversation. It's worth having.
Yeah, let's gush over Huda Asfour again. She has her ear to the ground very thoroughly.
Huda and I are going to do an interview in a couple weeks, so I will force her.
Yeah,
I will force her to continue this conversation.
Tell her Wanees made me.
Yeah. People can find you online pretty easily. I highly recommend looking up East Loop on YouTube and the Middle Eastern Ensemble at University of Chicago. And Wanees, thanks so much, man. This is
my pleasure. Fun. Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor.